the best lighting for you?
Kind of like
This lighting sucks, especially during the day.
Here, hold on. I'll just fix it. Here, let's go.
Where we going?
over here.
He's like, you're not Mike at all.
You want to like help be spotting him?
Just in case.
Are we both gonna do it?
Sure.
Yeah. Like help, or you want to help him, like spot him, like he's a little gymnastics girl.
I got no ego.
Running out of intros here on Barbell Shrugged.
This week on, all right, yeah, you ready? This week on Barbell Shrugged, we interview Brian Mackenzie and Thomas Cox and talk about working on our weaknesses. This sucks. Actually, we don't talk about working on our weaknesses. We just wanted to say that for the intro.
Because it's awful.
You have to listen to the whole episode to figure out what we talked about. Let's see if we can all hold our hands up for the entire podcast. There we go.
Amen.
Praise stance.
3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to Barbell Shrugged. I'm Mike Bletzer here with Doug Larson. We have traveled to Cookeville, Tennessee. We are hanging out at CrossFit Mayhem, a.k.a. Rich Froning's gym. We're here with Brian Mackenzie and Thomas Cox.
What's up?
We're gonna be
yeah.
Brian Mackenzie of CrossFit Endurance, Athlete Cell, 3 Fuel, all that stuff. We got Thomas Cox here representing Meal Fit.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he was showing us that last night. I liked it a lot. It looked nice. What were we gonna talk? Oh yeah, I was wanting to start it off with a story. So we were just joking around about Thomas's accent. A lot of people listen to this podcast and they hear my accent and they go, "Mike is country and southern."
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, no.
Which,
I would not think so.
Which I don't mind that one bit. But Brian's been asking you last day to say certain words and he's laughing. But if you go back to episode 2, we had Rich on with Darren and one of other Rich's buddies who is just super country sounding. And I think we laughed just the whole time. It was great.
Just at him.
It was fantastic. It was just some of the words he said. It was awesome. So if y'all want to hear,
do not control it, Thomas. Just let it flow, bro. I can see you kind of getting
I'm not
tight.
gonna control it.
You're like, maybe I should control this.
No.
Just let it flow,
just
bro.
be normal. Normal.
Just be yourself.
Like how Brian keeps
Just
asking you to say broil.
Brawl.
Brawl. That's what Mike's wife says too.
Why is
Brawl.
it funny?
Yeah, my wife says a lot of words.
Yeah.
Different. We won't say wrong.
So
she says them different.
Say oil, and she's like, oil.
Oil.
And then we're like, no, oil. And she's like, oil. 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 She's from Texas.
9 syllables.
She also calls ponds tanks. I guess they call them tanks down in Texas.
A pond?
A pond, a tank.
Pond. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Body of water.
Yes.
I'd say pond.
Okay.
I would say pond.
I'd say pond.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, Thomas, we all know about Brian Mackenzie.
Everybody
We've all
knows
heard
Big
about
Mac.
his spiel.
No.
Whatever.
I've only been this is third podcast.
He's
I've
old
done
news.
now.
Old news now.
He's a veteran on the show now.
Yeah.
At this point.
I'm actually might become an addition, but
That's right.
he's basically a co-host.
He's replacing Chris Moore tonight.
That's right.
Yeah, Thomas, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you came from?
Originally from Birmingham, Alabama. Okay, not an Alabama fan, not an Auburn fan. So
This
just
is
to
all
clear
making
that
more
up.
sense now.
Clear that up, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Clear
Not-
that up.
to be confused with Lower Alabama.
Not to be confused with Lower Alabama.
Not from LA.
So went high school ball there, football. Dad was a coach there for 37 years. Played college football at UAB. Played quarterback. Loved it.
That's University of Alabama?
University of Alabama, Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people get really upset about that. So.
All right.
Yeah.
From
moved to Atlanta. Moved to Atlanta. Coached high school football there for 2 years. Coached with my dad. He coached in Georgia for 10 years. Did that. Loved it. Football was what I was going to do. I had a history degree. So you really can't do anything with a history degree besides coach or teach.
Teach history.
Teach history, yeah, and that's boring. And so I was going to coach. I did that high school for 2 years, and then got a call on a plane coming back from my honeymoon. A friend of mine at NC State University called and said, hey, this guy left in the middle of the night, literally just Baltimore'd on him, and said, you want this job? I said, yeah. So we came up there. We take this job. We're up there 2 years.
North Carolina?
NC State. Go to
Okay.
NC State University. So we're coaching there. It's unbelievable. 50,000 people. I mean, my office is in a $40 million building. It's unbelievable. So we're there 2 years. Not great. We get fired. I mean, first college job in a year and a half, 2 years into it, we get fired. So we get fired. And
Got
then,
fired for what? Don't skip over that
Who-
part. That's probably the funniest
who's
part of the
we?
story.
No, yeah.
You say
I
we.
did- I did-
Was it just
Yeah,
you?
no. Everybody
Brian's over
got
there
fired.
taking a
You know how in
selfie.
college football, the head coach gets fired, everybody loses their job. So we
Oh, okay.
we lost our job. Yeah. So head coach got fired. We lose our job. The guy that I played for at UAB, Watson Brown, comes to Cookeville, and I've never heard of Cookeville hardly. He comes to Cookeville because it's where he was born. Coaches at Tennessee Tech, and so he offers me a job. So I come up here and I coached for the last 6 years. Coached wide receivers, and then coached
I heard it was. I just can't get over this. You called it Cookville.
Cookeville.
Oh, that's Cookville.
Yeah.
I said Cookville the
Not
first
Cookville.
time.
Sorry. Cookeville. Yeah, talking
Because I've been told to say it right many times.
Cookville or Cookville. You can just run it all together.
Cookville.
Cookville. Yeah.
All right, just making sure.
So, yeah. And so I'm here at Tennessee Tech. Hated it the first 6 months I lived here. Hated it. Been married 2 years, no kids. And it was just, this is small town USA. Year after we lived here, we just fell in love with the place. I mean, I don't know why. Just the people are great. It's a small town. Fell in love with the place. Did the coaching thing for 6 years. Coached receivers, then offensive line. Played quarterback, but I coached offensive line. So it's kind of weird, but it was great. Loved it.
Yeah.
And then got out of it. Started working at a church this past year. Absolutely loved it. Go from working 95-hour weeks to 40-hour weeks, and being able to raise my kids instead of my wife raising my kids by herself. So it's been amazing. And along that road, started doing the CrossFit thing. Chip Pugh, who introduced it to Rich and pretty much everybody here in Cookeville.
And that was at Tennessee Tech.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a strength coach at Tennessee Tech, and he said, hey, we started doing this CrossFit stuff. And at the time, I was running marathons. And so I'd run 4 marathons at the time. Yeah, I know.
Football player running marathons?
Yeah.
Why would you want to do
I'm
that?
impressed.
Yeah, Brian's like, that's just not smart.
I went from 215
Says the guy running
to
100 miles.
193. I was down to 193.
Oh, wow.
Thin. I was 40.
Man,
only
you must have been then.
Yeah. How tall are you?
Like
6'2".
195.
6'2". Well, 215 down to 193 is a lot.
I hear you.
And so we did that, and then started doing the CrossFit thing, and it got me out of the marathon running. And then around the time we started really doing it, we hired Rich. And then when we hired Rich, we started working out. And then
That's when Rich found CrossFit.
yes and no. He was in a class the year before I got going with CrossFit with Chip. So he kind of got into it a little bit before we did, or before I did, by probably 6 months. And then he went to the games in, what was that, 2010? And when he finished second, and then the 2 months after he got back, we hired him. And he started working here in January, and then we started training and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of been a whirlwind from there, especially for him. So
Hired him at Tech?
at Tech, he was a strength
Yeah.
coach at Tech
Right.
for a year and a half.
Were you were a strength coach there
No,
too?
I coached
You
football.
just did the football.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we worked at a small university. You work with the strength staff all the time, and so that's what we did. And it's great, great place to work. Don't regret a day of it. Just it was time for me to move on and find another career. So, but I love what I do now. It's great.
Then how'd the meal fit come into play?
This meal fit thing, I started working at the church, and this guy. And anytime you lift weights, and you're not in a community where people lift weights all the time, they think you know everything about everything. When as far as lifting weights and food and stuff like that. And so one of the guys at the church said, hey, put together a workout for me. Well, he played college baseball, and so I knew he could move a little bit. So I just did some basic stuff. He's like, great. So he did it a couple weeks. He's like, you know what? Me and my wife really don't know what to eat. I was like, he said, will you put me together something to eat? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so I just had a base of just stuff from just the CrossFit Journal and just listening to people and reading. So I had a basis of, the rights and the wrongs. And then I said, okay, so I did it. And I said, what about this? What if I put together a list for when you just print this list out and you just go to the grocery store and you get this. You don't even know what you're eating. You just get this list, and I give you some recipes.
Surprise.
Yeah, exactly. And so he said, great. And so I did it. He said, hey, this is good. I think people would want to do this. I was like, no way, bro. He's like, yeah, really. He said, get a Facebook page. I wasn't even on Facebook. And so, I wasn't even on Facebook.
How old are you?
What's that?
33.
33 and no
What's
Facebook.
that?
No
Wow.
Facebook. Yeah. And so he
impressed.
says, do this. And I was like, all right. And so he told somebody, and then somebody else told somebody. And it's just, so it started out being for busy people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's morphed into big people losing weight, fit people getting stronger and getting better and faster at workouts and things like that. So it's been, it's helped a lot of people. And so I love doing it, and I'm happy doing it, and I'm helping people. And so that's the main goal right there. So
that's similar to how you were saying 3Fuel got developed. It was totally organic. People were asking about it, and then they were like, you should sell this. And you were like, oh, maybe I should.
Yeah, it was never, the plan was never, because we had been helping develop a product with another company, and it didn't work out. And it just wasn't working the way that we wanted it to work. And so when we split paths, I was just like, screw it. We'll just make our own stuff. Like, we'll just do we'll make a product that works.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what, that's exactly how it rolled out. Yeah.
How'd you guys formulate the kind of the ratio for that particular product?
It was trial and error.
Yeah.
It was, we knew that the coconut milk worked immediately. Medium chain fats are an immediately usable fuel source. I mean, it's not obviously not as fast as putting carbs into your system, but it's a fairly fast process. We knew that kicked in. We knew that the protein helped, but that at about 2 hours between the two of them, if you weren't, you just couldn't keep up for too long. And so we knew we had to find something. And a guy reached out to me who's we've been friends for a while. He's been in the supplement industry for a while. He is my current partner with 3Fuel. And he was like, hey, I got this carbohydrate that bodybuilders have been using for eons. And they would take it before bed. And so they wouldn't have to wake up in the middle of the night because they get catabolic and feed themselves. So they just sleep through the night. And I was like, all right. Let me try it. And he goes, I know you're pretty anti-carb, and that was my anti-carb days. And so he tossed this carb at me.
Swung far and then swung back.
Literally, he sent like what looked like a kilo of blow to my house, and
this will give you a lot of energy.
He's like, this is going to give you a
Really
lot
fast,
of energy, and so we had the carb, and it's an HDP waxy maize. It's not just a waxy maize. It's been treated with hydrochloric acid, and so it changed the molecular structure of the waxy maize and makes it act like a fiber instead of a carbohydrate. So, it's both the carbohydrate and the fiber, but it sits at like 36 on the glycemic index. So you're actually getting more of an insulin rise out of the whey than you are out of the carb. And it takes about 2-3 hours for the carb to really kick in. And the carb outperforms any carbohydrate out there at 3 hours. So when that carb comes in, is when everything else is kind of slowing down. And it's just an endless supply. And so we were actually just playing around with the carbohydrate. And the carbohydrate alone is a great fuel source, which we'll probably end up selling just as its own. But the ratios we came up with were the ones that we felt not only fueled you, but actually sped up recovery. So we actually had the recovery protocols in place that allowed everything to happen that we wanted to rebound with. So that was how it played out. And the 20 grams protein, 20 grams of carbs. The 20 grams of protein is basically something that essentially, from a biochemistry standpoint, is if you've got 20 grams of protein every 3 hours, you're pretty much taking care of, your amino acids. So
there, it is a myth that you can take in 60 grams of protein after a workout and it all work.
I think
it'll all work. It's just
person.
But it's not that it's going to break down. I mean, you'll convert a lot of that to glucose.
Correct.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people. I think there's probably like some piece of research out there somewhere said you can't digest more than like 20 or 30 grams of protein at a time.
Right.
And I haven't seen the actual piece of research on that. And they might be talking about like chicken breasts.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, everything thing is going to break down differently.
Yeah.
And then you start combining it with different things, it's going to break down faster or slower. You start combining fat with anything, and it starts breaking down slower. So, yeah, and then every person is different. I think everyone has to like conduct a case study on themselves. That's actually one thing I like about like Tim Ferriss is he writes these books and he just talks about what worked for him. He's not saying this works for everybody, because I mean, how many times? I mean, I've looked at supplements and I've tried them out when there's very little research on them, and I see if they work for me or not.
Right.
Now, whether they're dangerous or not, who knows? But
only time will tell.
Only time will tell. Like if I end up with like all sorts of weird growths, then we'll know why.
Right.
But you know, I'm not taking anything illegal, by the way.
Disclaimer.
Just put that out there. Yeah. This is all stuff you can get on very credible websites. But
Incredible.
Yeah.
In the United States. No, but you know, everyone reacts differently. I mean, there's some people you give them, you know, a certain percent of the population doesn't react well with creatine. Like they're not going to see the same benefits as the rest of the population. You know, maybe 5% don't see, you know, the benefits to the same degree.
Yeah, if you ever looked at like the individual plots on the graphs for all these studies that we all reference, it's like some people on creatine studies, for example, there's all the non-responders you were just talking about. Some people might have gained or put on 25 pounds on their back squat in these studies. They're all plotted at the top. And there's a bunch of people plotted in the middle, and then there's a couple people that are plotted right along the bottom with zero performance gain at all.
Right.
So you might be one of those people.
Yeah.
You might be not the norm. You might be way outside one or two standard deviations above the norm, or below the norm. So that's to your point. Why you need to do some type of self-experimentation and really see if it's going to work for you, because the average is a fake person. It's not a real person.
Yeah. And so, the other thing too is like certain products like creatine, even if you feel like you're a non-responder, maybe your back squat and bench don't go up, I would say still take it because it's so cheap, and there's so many like mental benefits. Like
that's the thing.
You know, it makes you more cognizant and things like that, and it's good for people who have Parkinson's. Like they've shown that like it can reduce your chances of getting that if you have more creatine. So a lot of these supplements, it's good just to have them if they're cheap enough. Like, you know, why not take vitamin E? Why not take a multi? You know, try to get like a high quality one. But like, you know, when people start asking me like, should I take this nitrous oxide and it's $60 for like 15 days worth, I'm like, I think you can spend your money better somewhere else.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some supplements out there that have been like tested by time. They're sitting around. You may not get all the benefits, but some people are going to respond differently.
It ultimately comes down to, and this is the biggest thing, you know, even at our seminars with CrossFit Endurance, at the end of the weekend, I'm like, look, I'm not here to sell you on anything. Go ahead, please, go ahead and go out and challenge this or test what it is we're doing here and figure out for yourself if this works out for you. You know, it's not about, hey, this way or that way. You know, and you just brought up the multivitamin thing. And there was not too long ago, there's a study that was put out that said multivitamins don't work. And we actually put a bunch of stuff out on our blog and 3Fuel about that. And then there was some guy on the Joe Rogan podcast that had come on and was talking about it. And another doctor came on, Dr. Rhonda Patrick.
That's right.
And was like, hey, check this out. The study that was done on that was done on people who were dying of Alzheimer's and had cardiovascular disease that were taking a multivitamin, meaning these were dying people that the multivitamin didn't work on. So now everybody's like, multivitamins don't work. And it's like...
And they didn't not die.
So did not keep them alive.
Yeah, it did not keep them alive.
Well, multivitamins don't cure cancer. We know that.
Yeah.
The thing too with supplements, I'll say this. I heard a guy say this a long time ago. Part of the reason supplements work, okay, is you go out and you spend the money, whether it be something cheap or something expensive. You spend the money, and you know what? You want that to work. And so what are you going to go do? You're going to go bust it in the gym, wherever you may be. You're going to go work harder because you know what? This stuff is going to make me better, so you're going to go work harder.
This happened to me a lot when I was younger.
Waste it.
I remember
cognitive dissonance, boys.
Yeah.
True believer. you believe and you go to work.
You do because you think this is going to make you stronger so you go work harder.
Yeah, you don't want to waste it. If you spend all that money, you want to get everything you can out of it. So you're going to sleep better, you're going to eat better, you're going to train harder, and then it's going to work.
It's working.
Even if it wasn't that caused the response, it caused the change in behavior that caused the response.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna name any like supplement companies, but there's a few out there that run like these challenges. Like, oh, do this challenge for so many days. I'll leave the days out so no one can figure out what it is. But run this challenge for so many days, and you lose all this weight, and people get all these benefits, and like they all point at the supplement. It's like, well, that supplement's not like, that's not the end all be all. Like, you took your shit real serious. You did that diet. You got in the gym 5-6 days a week.
I mean, I'm asked all the time, probably exactly like you guys are. Hey, what supplement should I take? And I mean, it's my brother the other day. Hey, what do you think about creatine? Why you want to take creatine? I don't know.
Why do I need to take creatine?
And I'm like, well, when you figure out why you want to take creatine,
right.
why don't you start taking creatine?
That's true about those challenges. We had a friend of ours is doing one of those challenges right now. Well, his wife is doing it. They're doing it together. And he looks at, she says, I've lost 7 pounds in the first however many days. He's like, babe, you're eating totally different.
Yeah.
You're working out 2 more times a week than you were. It ain't the supplements. How you like that for grammar? It ain't the supplements. You're eating better. You're working out more. Hello?
Yeah, I just don't like the idea of like someone maybe ending the challenge and then just keep taking the supplements and then like just kind of reverting back to old habits outside of the supplements. Because I'd be willing to bet that's what happens a lot of times. So,
No doubt.
but yeah, when I was younger, man, I used to like, I'd get a paycheck, I'd drop like 200 bones on, I'd go to GNC and load up stuff that was behind the glass with a key.
Yes.
Give me that.
Hey, I need this over here.
That.
Oh man.
It's got to be good. It's locked up.
I hope it makes my eyes go bloodshot. Like it must be good.
The only 2 things they lock up is supplements and guns.
Dude, Mag 10, baby. Anyone take Mag 10 back in the day? Oh man, that fired me up.
Ultimate Orange.
Yeah.
I brought it back, didn't I?
Dude, Ultimate Orange, man.
They took it off the market for a while.
My heart should have
That was the first supplement I ever
exploded.
had.
My heart should have exploded when I was like 17 when I took so much of that stuff. Like every day. I would wake up at like 6 a.m. I would go run like 5 miles, lift weights. I was crazy.
Lift weights. You see what he did when he lift weights? Lift weights. I ran and did bicep curls. Sometimes at the same time. When creatine first came out, we had this old ball coach at the school my dad coached at, and he calls it. He says, "Hey, there's this new stuff out there you need to take."
Is that how he talks?
Just like this. And he said,
Like he has a dip in his mouth all the time?
Yeah, it's called creatinine.
Creatinine.
So for a year and a half, I called
like
it
the Kraken.
I called it creatinine. And I didn't know. I just did what he called it what he said.
That's awesome.
But I'm not the bottom part of that rung on creatine.
Say what?
When I take that stuff,
Oh yeah, works well for you.
Stronger, and now I do say this: I gain weight, I get bigger.
Yeah, I do too. I respond very well to creatine.
Very well.
If I cycle off for a while and then I come back to it, it's noticeable right away.
No question.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like one of those non-responders.
Really?
But, yeah, I want to try, like Kiefer had suggested as like a theory. He said try doing like 60 grams a day for a while. The idea behind that is not actual like because creatine has been shown to be like a myostatin inhibitor, which is like so myostatin is the gene that basically it's the governor in your cells that keeps your from growing like too fast, I guess. So if you just Google myostatin cow
Just
right
go
now.
Google
Yeah.
Wendy the Whippet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's a whippet that looks like a fucking bull.
Oh that dog.
The dog.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, check out. Yeah,
not
just
kidding,
Google.
dude.
Yeah, it's
just-
like the bodybuilder dog.
yeah, dude, it's got like
looks
veins
awesome.
popping out.
It's like this, just standing there.
Feed the dog creatine and his kibbles and bits.
Yeah, so like the theory that Kiefer has is potentially if you take up like 60 grams, like spread out throughout the entire day, you would inhibit that gene enough to get like better expression.
There was a rumor Bob Sapp was playing around with trying to get his myostatin gene.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
I bet he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually
Bob
talking.
Sapp. I haven't even heard that name in years.
Bro,
That
he's
dude's
been over in
fantastic.
China. He's been over like in China and Japan forever. And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I think the rumor was from people that I know that know him that
Yeah.
he was like, I want to get this myostatin thing.
He's already
pulled.
like 400 pounds.
I know, man.
Bob Sapp is like a 400-pound kickboxer, and lean too,
Yes.
and he's the biggest
He's
human
so
being on the
big,
planet.
dude. He's got fur on his shoulders. Bob, if you're listening, I'm sorry. Don't beat me up.
No, we all actually like you, Bob.
Yeah, Bob's a shit.
Don't come to my house.
Oh man, but yeah, I've been thinking about like, but that's such a pain in the ass to like dose that high. So it's like, I've been thinking about doing it.
Think about the amount of water you would have to drink. I mean, you'd have to drink 2 gallons of water a day just to get.
I mean,
that
I'm
stuff.
already drinking over a gallon of water a day. I mean, you just throw it in.
There was a big push for people to try to figure out how to have an over-the-counter supplement that would stimulate that inhibition of myostatin. I remember I think it was Tim Hendricks, one of the guys that's like the
there's certain supplements
director
that
of or
claim they
editor
do,
or something like that of T Nation. He was like, when he heard about myostatin inhibition, he thought that was like going to be the next big thing. This is going to take over.
I remember reading about it when I was way younger and being like, oh my god, this is the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did
back when I
a
wanted to
bunch
be
of research
Arnold
on it,
Schwarzenegger
though.
big. Yeah.
They did a bunch of research on it to try to like figure out how to do it, and like it was like nothing but dead ends. And then I think they eventually just gave up on it. But people talk about it all the time, but no one seems to have done anything about it.
Yeah, not with human beings at least, because they've done it with the cows. They've done it with a bunch of different animals. It's like the human research we've heard nothing about. And obviously all of us being in different places at different times, we're all thinking about this, going, when are they coming out with the human trials?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I know a guy. I was talking to a guy just last week. He was saying, yeah, man, if they had it, I'd take it. Like, no questions asked. He's like, I was like, but you know, because you don't know what the health risks are going to be associated with that. No. But I've heard the animals live just fine.
Just fine. Cows are living just fine.
What that means, but
They just look like 5 times the cow they were.
Exactly.
I want to eat that cow.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't have any fat in it, so it probably doesn't taste any good.
Oh yeah, has
Doug,
anyone heard about the KFC chickens that have like multiple, not just 2 legs per side, but like multiple legs per side? Is that real?
Wow.
Hey, what?
Is that real? I saw
Dude,
it
he
on my
found a
I saw
spider
my
chicken
my
today.
Facebook feed today. I saw like chickens that had 2 or more legs per side. Like that's why KFC.
It's got to be true because you saw it on Facebook.
I saw it on Facebook.
It's got to be
It
true.
was on the internet. It
Dude,
exists.
somebody-
It's the gospel.
Somebody
Well,
Snopes that.
I did
Snopes
go
that
to
and let
Snopes
us
yet.
know.
I saw a photo and was like, "Is this true?" And nobody knows if it's true. I haven't looked it
I
up.
don't know.
If you know if it's true, Twitter, send me a message. I want to see this.
Wow.
Especially if it is true, I really want to see.
Yeah,
GMO chickens.
Those dudes can't even
that's
walk.
scary, dude.
They can't even walk.
Yeah.
You're,
They break their legs break because they can't keep up with the.
dude, they didn't. They don't have
Yeah.
beaks. They don't have feathers.
Yeah, beakless, featherless chickens.
That way,
With
less
multiple legs.
less work, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
don't know, man.
It could be totally fake, and I wouldn't know.
All right, we're gonna take a break real quick. When we come back, we're gonna solve the mystery of the spider chicken.
The key is do it in lard instead of soybean oil or vegetable oil or peanut oil.
Yeah,
Fried food and animal fat.
that makes more sense.
It makes a lot more sense. Well, I mean, is a peanut fat? No, it ain't fat. A hog is fat.
No, I'm in with you here.
Well, that's like I was telling you. They used to put like McDonald's French fries and all that. They used to do it in lard and in.
What we got here, man? Is this your special recipe?
This is special recipe, totally not meal fit. Totally not meal fit. It's his flour. Even though Aaron Faro, we did some in all-purpose gluten-free baking powder. I mean, baking flour. It's as good as you're gonna get, you know, gluten-free. But it's good, super good. Just salt and pepper and
You have a name for this
flour.
recipe?
No name. I got it from a lady at church.
Church's chicken. There you go. Let's go with that.
A lady at church back in Hueytown, this lady named Miss Sue, and here's how she said it. She said, you get 2 cups of flour. And I said, well, how much salt and pepper? She said, you get 1 handful of salt and 2 handfuls of pepper and put it in there and go.
Shout out to Sue.
Yeah, Miss Sue. So
You start going.
Oh, yeah.
I can see how this could fit with this. Like you start talking about. I left like hang out with Louie. I thought of like new ways to approach gymnastics.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
does it not cloud your vision though? I mean, you hear B-Mac talk about something. You hear Louis, and then you hear, but does it not cloud? Well, he's successful, but then so is he.
It depends on your foundation, I think.
Yeah.
So like if you have like a really strong foundation and knowledge, and I think everyone should like stick with one coach for a while and then start trying out other methods and whatnot. But you have to have an understanding like the principles, which all of us in this room understand those principles. But then, you know, when you start getting people whose vision gets cloudy is when they don't understand the principles of training, like basic physiology, just adaptation and all this shit, and you know, how to get stronger. All they know is methods. All they know is that 5-3-1 works. They don't know why.
Gotcha.
So like those are the people who I think get, you know, they watch, listen to Louis, and then they swing one way real hard.
It's
And
like a pendulum.
yeah, I mean, I swing around a lot too. You know, like I swing real hard after talking to my coach, but then always come
I
back
think
to
you
him.
also you start to listen to all these people, different coaches, is you start to see the similarities.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where they're at, and the similar things that they do, and you start to pick up on that, and it's like, well, okay, obviously this piece,
commonality.
this piece works, you know.
This commonality from this guy, these all got to say the same thing. There's got to be something to this piece. The thing that I'm hearing that people are getting back to, and I don't know that it ever lost, but in the rise of CrossFit, I think it got lost there, is people are getting back to putting weight on the bar on a daily basis, putting heavy weight on the bar. And I think that the last couple, 3 years, people were like, they were doing CrossFit workouts and that was really it, and they weren't having a strength program and doing that. Some of these guys were, and I think that, like you see Jason, I know Jason now. Jason's lifting heavy weights right now. There for a year, sucker didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So he's gotten back to lifting more heavy weights right now.
Well, I mean, I agree, but from what I've seen, because that's been the last couple of years, is what most of the guys, and I mean, sure, there's outliers like people like Jason who weren't lifting a ton of heavy weight or whatever, but now they are because they see what other guys are doing. But I see this year, I mean, I know from being bombarded, it's not only by Rich, but you know, with Danielle Horan, with a lot of these kids, it's like, I need endurance. It's obvious at this point. I need an endurance program.
Yeah.
Like, if Jason Khalifa's going and doing 5-6 days a week of endurance, and we just saw what happened to him at the games, we all need to be doing that. Now it's like, okay, now everybody wants to do the endurance part. Like now they want to understand that. And I know Henshaw is busy as shit with what he's doing.
California?
Yeah, out in Northern California. I mean, he attacked this thing absolutely perfectly with all those kids up in NorCal.
Yeah.
You know, even more. There's, you know, a bunch of them are going to him.
I think it depends on what part of the world you're in. Because I was talking to AJ Roberts, and he does those certifications or seminars for powerlifting and CrossFit. And he says he goes to places like Europe, and they're blown away that he like gives them permission to lift every day. So you can squat more than like once every 2 or 3 weeks. And they're like, oh, we just do the WOD. It's like, no, you can do strength training like all the time. They're like, oh. So you go to like some parts of the world, and they're just now grasping the whole like
they're so
progressive
hungry,
strength training.
They're so hungry. Dude, we just did 80 people in Spain, in Madrid this last weekend, and it was like, these guys were like, dude, they are so hungry for wanting to understand more and more and more, and they're so behind with what's going on because they're not in the mix of everything that's going on.
Originated here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I think I also see now some athletes that like you start doing like a lot more conditioning, and they like kind of like minimize guys that are already strong. You start minimizing the strength and doing a lot more conditioning, and then they get confused like, why aren't we on like this squat program? Like, you don't need a squat program right now. Like, so they get confused too on that.
Yeah.
And it's like people. That's that big swing you see. Like they get real strong and they think this strength. They see a lot of progress from strength. You know, your Fran time got better because your squat went up.
Right.
But now that's not what's going to make your Fran time getting better. So you swing them around a little bit, and they get, you know, people want more endurance and they want more strength, and they just kind of go back and forth.
You can get great at both at the same time. It's a longer process because you can get stronger quick and then you can get in shape quick. But if you can be doing both of those things at the same time, it's a longer process.
And I've seen a lot
you
of
got to be more
athletes do it.
patient.
Here's what I think it is. It's time. It's look at where these kids are at now. Here we are, 8 years after the first games, and you got somebody like Khalifa who's been doing this how long? Like 7.
He's been competing since 08.
Yeah.
Was he 30,
7
30
years.
He's not that old, dude. He's only like 20. He's not 30 yet.
Is he not 30? I thought he was 30.
I think he's 28.
I don't know.
I think when we talked to him, he's 28. Yeah.
But 7 years competing at this level, and he just continues to push and push and push, and it's like, yeah, now you can have it all.
Yeah.
Now you can squat heavy and you can run fast.
Right.
You know, I mean, maybe not. They're not running real fast quite yet, but it's. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
seeing numbers of kids that are getting faster and faster and faster.
Crazy.
Huh?
It's like, who was it? You and I talking the other day, or somebody was talking the other day about, 4 or 5 years ago, the volume that people are doing 4 or 5 years ago was
Oh yeah.
No.
a strength and then a workout.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, I don't know if it's because Rich is doing it.
Rich is doing 12 workouts in 2 days.
Yeah, when I met Rich at the only sectional. What year did they do sectionals? 2010.
2010.
Down, I met him down in Huntsville, Alabama,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Who is this guy?" I was like, "What do you do for training?" Like, I was asking. He was like, "Oh, I just go to different websites and just do whatever, 2-3 times a day." I was like, "So no plan."
No plan.
I was like, it blew my mind. I was like, "This guy just smoked everybody, no plan." All right, whatever.
Yeah.
He changed my mind on some things. Like, not changed my mind. In that moment, I was like, he's just genetic freak.
But there
Like,
are
he's-
things.
Things have changed my mind. Definitely.
Yeah.
There's been like the whole in school. It was like
Yeah.
you either do strength training
Uh-huh.
or you do endurance.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, yeah, you can definitely make your squat go up and increase your aerobic capacity at the same time. Totally doable because I watch it happen.
Yeah. We're witnessing
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
firsthand.
Yeah. So.
Here,
Yeah, seriously.
so you can go down this road, and here's Sam's.
Hang on, you just told me to go down I-40 and take a turn.
40's right here. There's a road that runs right by I-40.
Hey,
safe
safe
call. The Fairfield Inn is right here.
Okay.
You go under the interstate, and you're going to take that first right under the interstate. Don't get back on the interstate right there. And there's this little restaurant, and they have the CrossFit breakfast on the menu. It's like 3 eggs, bacon, and whatever. Perfect. Good breakfast.
What?
I don't even know the name of the place.
Oh, it's
I don't know the name.
it's behind the
All right, so this is a Fairfield
gas
Inn.
station.
Fairfield
I'm gonna drive up Fairfield Inn. I'm gonna take a left. I'm gonna follow
Dead
the
end.
interstate up.
This is literally 75
You
yards.
got this on
under.
video.
This is literally 75 yards.
You're gonna go under the interstate, like
Isn't
it's
the
gonna-
Starbucks, like,
it's
over
the
here?
bypass.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a
So the
road
Star-
right here,
yeah.
and Starbucks is
So,
right
yeah,
here.
make
it's
sure
to
the
the
right.
Right here, there's a Wendy's, there's a McDonald's, and there's a gas station.
Old Country Cafe.
Is that it?
I think so.
Okay. This is
Google Maps over here.
this is interstate. This is Interstate Drive. Okay. Starbucks is right here, and you're gonna go right on the interstate, and you're gonna turn right there, and it's back in this nook. There's
a
gas
red
station.
light.
There's a gas station right here, and it's right behind the gas station.
Crackle Barrel's on the left at the red light, and you're gonna take a right.
So nice.
Come on, that's my favorite word.
Brian makes fun of me because I say oven, broil. Jackie's the only one there that doesn't think that's funny.
I don't get it.
Good stuff. love it. See, she doesn't get it. Broil.
Welcome back to Technique Quad. This is part of a video series where we're breaking down the snatch into its component parts. We did the starting position, the first pull, the transition, the second pull, and now this video is about the catch and the recovery phase. Music. So I'm Doug Larson from the Barbell Shrugged podcast, and this is Alex Mackenzie. He's one of our faction and Barbell Shrugged weightlifting coaches. Like I said, today's video is all about the catch and recovery phase of the snatch. So Alex is going to show that specific part of the lift. So he's pausing here. He's basically in the power position. He's going to do a second pull and then pull himself underneath the weight all the way into a full overhead squat. There you go. So that's the part of the lift we're covering in this video. If I make things a little easier on Alex and give him a PVC pipe, we'll go through all the phases of this part of the movement. So Alex is starting in a good power position. Heels are on the ground, knees are out, knees are bent. He's got a vertical torso, bars hitting him right on the crease of his hips. Arms are straight, shoulders are down. He's in a good position to go into triple extension and pull the weight overhead and pull himself underneath the weight. So if he goes all the way into a full triple extension, so he pulls himself all the way up high, and now once he's here, he probably can't pull the weight much higher. It's going to float because he's going to have some momentum on the bar, but really at this point he's thinking shrug, elbows up and back, and he's pulling himself all the way to the bottom of the squat. So maybe do that in slow motion. Shrugs, elbows up and back, and then he goes all the way to the bottom of that squat, locks his elbows out, and then stands up overhead. So if we slow that down even further, he goes all the way up onto his toes. First thing, he's going to start shrugging his shoulders. Elbows are going to go up and back where he never does. There you go, beautiful, and all the way up. All right, so breaking that down even further, he always wants to shrug his shoulders first with his elbows straight, and then when he bends his elbows, he's never curling the weight. Elbows are going up and back, so pull your elbows up and back. That way he's keeping the bar nice and close. You can see there's no space here. The closer the bar is to his body, the easier it's going to be. If he does it wrong and he curls instead, there's going to be a bunch of space here. Now he's going to have to put his body underneath the bar by coming forward. He's going to be chasing the bar, and he's probably going to miss the lift out in front of him. So always wants his elbows up and back. That way he can get under that bar much easier. Now he's going to pull himself all the way to the bottom of the squat. And here he's just trying to land in a perfect overhead squat. He's landing with his elbows locked out, the bar right over his feet, heels are down, knees are out over his toes. He's got a nice tight back. He's in a perfect overhead squat position. And then ideally he can ride the bounce out of the bottom of the lift. Go ahead and show what riding the bounce looks like. There you go. So he's going down, and at the bottom of the movement, instead of pausing, he's gonna come down and just kind of bounce out of the bottom of that movement. Not quite as critical on the snatch since the weight isn't as heavy as it is on the clean, because you're probably not going to get stuck in at your sticking point on an overhead squat. You can probably just grind through it no matter how fast you hit that movement in. So not quite as critical, but it will make it easier to get to stand up after the lift. So he's pulling from a snatch. Actually, you come out around the front, Chris. Right now, Alex is pulling in his pulling stance, which is typically more narrow than your squatting stance. So when he pulls himself under the weight, he's probably going to hop his feet out a little bit, not too far, but a couple inches maybe. Go ahead and look at his feet. There you go. See Alex hopped his feet out about 2 inches. Maybe toes out a little bit more in the process as well. That's a personal preference thing. But what you don't want to do is hop your feet out too wide where you end up in the jumping jack position. So go ahead and do it wrong. If you hop your feet out too wide, it's going to be very hard to get extremely low on your overhead squat. It's easier to squat all the way down with my feet right under me like this than it is if my feet are wide like this. I can't squat down as low. It's going to be easier if my feet are right underneath me. As far as how much you toe out on your overhead squat, that's going to be personal preference. As long as your knee is outside of your foot and your heel is down and you have a neutral spine, you're probably okay. People that have longer limbs, especially on overhead squats, tend to hop their feet out a little bit further, and they tend to toe out a little bit more. As I toe out a little bit more, it helps me push my hips forward, gives me a more vertical back, and it makes it easier to hold the weight overhead, especially at the bottom of the movement. I can be here with a vertical torso. If I'm like this, I kind of round my back a little bit, and it makes it harder for me to get into a vertical arm position. So I'm not stuck on feet totally straight ahead. It's going to be dependent on your personal body type and personal bone structure, whether you need to do that or not, and how mobile you are. So it's a combination of factors. So I'm not stuck on feet totally straight ahead, especially on overhead squats. All right, another quick point on the catch is that you want to lock your elbows out at the exact same time that you hit the bottom of your squat. So one more time, if we have Alex demo. See, right when he hits the bottom of his squat is the exact same time that he locks his elbows out all the way. If you land with a soft elbow with heavy weight, it's going to come crashing down on you, and you're going to have to try and get out of the way of the bar, dropping it in front of you, or potentially even behind you. Another point there is that you want to have active shoulders. Some people think about active shoulders as pushing the bar up and shrugging your shoulders. I've never been real hot on that cue myself, but I know some people that like it. If you like it, keep using it, and that's great. But I personally like to try to pull the bar apart overhead. So if Alex has the bar overhead again, there you go. He's trying to basically tear the bar in half right in the middle by ripping the bar apart, and that's helping him add shoulder stability and scapular stability, so he's stronger with the weight overhead if he's standing or if he's at the very bottom of the movement. All right, so here's what it looks like if you aren't using the active shoulder cue and you're not trying to pull the bar apart. Your shoulders typically, they'll typically roll forward a little bit. If Alex can kind of roll his shoulder forward like that, he'll internally rotate here and he'll break and he'll roll his shoulder forward like that. So it'll kind of look like this, where this gets rolled forward like that, where instead of having the pit of his elbow pointing straight up like this, there you go, it'll roll forward and it'll point forward like that. So generally, when you're overhead, you want to be externally rotated, not internally rotated. So if I'm locking it out, I internally rotate like this. That's generally harder on my shoulders. I want to be externally rotated as best I can. The pit of my shoulder will be, or excuse me, the pit of my elbow here will point straight up, and I'll have my armpits kind of facing forward. Again, I won't be like this. My shoulders won't be forward. They'll be back and they'll be down, and they'll be more stable when you're in that position, and you're less likely to hurt your shoulder. All right, so that wraps up the Snatch technique series. Again, we have a big overview video of how to do the entire movement, and then we broke it down into the starting position, the first pull, the transition, the second pull, and then this video, which is the catch and recovery video. If you haven't seen the other videos, you can go to barbellshrugged.com, click on Technique Wad at the top of the page, and you can check out all the videos on the Technique Wad page.
And we're back. Yes, we're still in Cookville. We're still at CrossFit Mayhem. We're hanging out with Brian Mackenzie and Thomas Cox. And during the break, the topic of Ecuador came up.
Yep.
And then he got about 2 words in explaining. I said, no, podcast.
So you have no idea what I'm fixing to say.
I have no idea what you're going to say. I mean,
we could go be fixing to go rob a cartel down there, and you would be like, oh, let's take that out.
We'd definitely leave that in.
I was going to say, dude, that's going to get a lot of hits.
No Chapo.
That sounds way more exciting.
Chapo, dude.
Oh, that's right.
You know what? I have a chicken that lives in my front yard. It just showed up about 2 weeks ago.
Just 2 legs.
It's only got 2 legs.
Side.
It's got all its feathers, and we've been calling it El Pollo. But I think we may be calling it El Chapo. I'm changing that name, dude. That
awesome.
sounds way hardcore.
Oh, yeah.
That chicken's hardcore, dude. It's like cold and wet outside, and it's just hanging out.
Just wait till I get you guys to Hawaii. It's dude.
The chickens there are amazing.
Dude, the roosters run around that island like they own it. Just
dude, roosters
scooping
can
up.
be mean, man.
Yeah.
They're everywhere, and they literally they're territorial with their women. So it's just like they're running around chasing other roosters
so you don't
around.
You don't want to be chasing none of their chickens.
I actually have a hat, and I'll probably wear it this weekend.
Brian, why do you know why they're? How do you know they're territorial?
They're
Are
just
you a chicken?
Yeah, I'm a chicken fucker.
Trying to keep it clean.
So why are you going to Ecuador?
Okay, so
back to our original point.
back to the original question.
We're good at getting off topic.
We were going last week of August, first week of September. It's right around the 1st of September. We're going to Ecuador. We've got a girl that's in our church here from Cookville, and she's down there. She's a missionary. She's working and running an orphanage.
Oh, wow.
A lot of orphans down there. And so I did not know this. Ecuador is I think the #1 producer of roses in the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. So we're going down there. We're going to spend a week. Going to take 6 guys.
So if you don't bring roses home, you're in trouble.
Mama's going to be pissed.
Yeah.
So we're going down there, and through the church I work for, and we're going to build a greenhouse for the orphanage, because that's the way they can either raise money, make money through doing roses, or just their crops. And so this is about 11,000 feet, though, between 10 and 11,000 feet the orphanage is. And so we're going to go down there for a week, take 6 guys, and build a greenhouse for them so they can make money and raise their own food. So
wow.
Brian's going with us. I nearly got Rich Froning Sr. talked into going with us because he can build absolutely anything. Unbelievable.
It just so happens that I've built a greenhouse before.
Bingo.
So what did you
keep
bring?
the chickens.
So that's what we're doing. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be really good. So
No, Ecuador's great. I've been down there twice.
Have you really?
Yeah, I've been down there twice. Great country. Great, very good people. They use the U.S. dollar too.
They
Even
make
more
it
reason
easy.
to go.
They have no currency.
Even more of a reason to go.
Yeah.
So pretty excited about it.
It's CrossFit.
Would you
Ecuador
take
yet?
more?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all over.
Yeah.
You take more people?
Yeah, we probably need to cap it about 10, just simply because of space. But yeah, we could take some more.
What weekend is that?
So weekend, we're going to leave on a Wednesday.
You're gonna have like 1,000 people want to show
Yeah,
up now.
Exactly. We're going to leave on a Wednesday, the Wednesday before Labor Day. So Wednesday before Labor Day, gonna go Wednesday through Tuesday after Labor Day.
And if someone in the audience wants to go, where should they show up at?
Ecuador.
That's right, Ecuador. Meet me there.
Get yourself to Ecuador and you can go.
We're going to Quito.
What?
That's the mountains.
I think so.
That's where it's like 10,000
Yes.
feet. Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I forget the airport we're flying into.
Yeah, I believe it's Quito.
Sounds right.
I've never been to Ecuador. You're going to have to tell me.
It's by the equator.
There's,
Like,
there's,
you obviously
there's
like it.
Guayaquil, which is the main city, and then Quito, which is another huge city, but it's up in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Those are
Because the airport's only an hour and a half from where we're going, so that may be it. Like the
Yeah.
airport's only like an hour and a half
Yeah.
from the village in the mountains.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's gonna be awesome. Giving back, they don't have as much as we do, obviously. So we're gonna go in there and buy the greenhouse and build it for them. So
Cool.
yep, it's gonna be great.
So you work for a church?
Yep.
Is that the same church that was involved in repoing a boat?
Oh yes,
I remember correctly.
Oh.
yes.
Mr. Larson throwing curveballs.
What up here? We won't go into that whole story. What episode was that?
Wait.
73.
What
episode.
happened?
He's a savant. He did it again.
Yeah, I know.
Rich told a story about repoing
Yeah.
a boat with him. And,
Hey, we're
him
a
and Thomas.
full service church.
That's right.
Do
We're a
everything.
You want us to steal a
full-service
boat for
church.
you? We'll get it.
We did.
Wow.
We did. You've never heard that story?
No.
Yeah, they give you the 30-second version. So, lady at church calls and she says, "Hey, can you go we need a boat moved?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, great. I've been working there like 6 months." And I was like, "Well, where's the boat?" She said, "It's at my husband's mom's house. We're getting a divorce." I was like, "Well, is he going to be there?" She's like, "No, he's not going to be there. It'll be fine. Just go get it and just bring it over here." Well, come to find out, he wanted to keep the boat. And we couldn't get the boat latched on. We were out there sweating and we're getting pretty nervous. Thank goodness the guy wasn't there. We took it to her house. Said, "Hey, great, good to see you. Thanks, whatever." She called me 2 weeks later. She said he came and got the boat. I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't go back and get the boat." But yeah,
That could have
full
been
service,
potentially
man.
dangerous.
It could have been very
Could've
potentially
got
dangerous.
bad quick.
Now I did not tell Rich that that's exactly what we were doing, but he was.
Yeah, he didn't need to know.
I did not divulge everything.
Found out afterwards.
What are we doing now? We're getting a boat and taking it. Why are we taking it over here? Because the husband wants to keep it and she doesn't want him to keep it. Okay, great. So we're repoing it. Yes.
So what you're saying is Rich doesn't ask a lot of questions and he's easy to convince of some
He's
tasks.
learning. He's learning to ask questions when I'm involved.
So what makes him a good CrossFitter? He's like, all right, I'll just do
Okay,
that.
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah, let's do that.
Sure, sounds good.
So
Brian, who all do you have training for the games this year that you're helping out? You got a big old list?
Rich, Danielle Horan, Brian Diaz. There's Carla. Carla's out of Africa. She's out of South Africa. She was in South Africa, but now she moved up.
Mm-hmm.
We've got dude. There's actually a bunch more. I'm just not thinking about them right now. There's quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
It's on and off, and I'll work with kids
Yeah.
all year. Like I've worked with Kinnick quite a few times. I've trained Kinnick for probably 3 years. I still work with him on and off. There's another kid that's with him who's getting pretty good. His name's Nick.
Dark Horse. Dark Horse.
Nick Robles.
He's got the coolest Twitter, Instagram handle ever. I don't even know his
Dark
name. I just
Shadow.
know it's Dark Shadow. That's
Dark
it.
Dark
Shadow.
Dark Shadow. Real memorable too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He snagged Dark Shadow.
Yes.
Yes.
No
That's good.
numbers afterward?
I think it's Dark_Shadow.
That's good.
Oh, wow. That's
That's good.
impressive.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. He got
He
that.
got in early.
And my Twitter handle was my daughter's name. That's real manly.
Yeah, I was like, what's your Twitter? I was like, I think I just met a little person with that name. I was like, trying to put it all together.
Yeah.
I'm kind
Yeah.
of slow. So
I'm fairly like limited with what I'll do and how much I'll do with people, and which is why the purpose of Athlete Cells, where it's like we've worked on programming for so long, and I've there was a period where it was just like I could only handle like 10 athletes, where that was it, and I just push athletes to other people, and then once we devised a way to get coaches involved to understand the program, to be able to program. So we have it set up so we have coaches that can put out the programming. I can oversee the programming. We can, and we ultimately have like kind of a hierarchical thing where it's like you've got head coaches, and then assistant coaches, and then interns, and everybody's got part of the process and the way it happens, and that allows for a very streamlined system to where you can handle in excess of 100 athletes or so. Mm-hmm. I think CJ Martin runs a very similar thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thomas, I don't want to forget this. It just popped in my head. I was told not to forget to talk about this from Rich. Actually, he didn't say anything. No, I was just kidding.
Thomas is
he
like,
didn't
oh
say
my
anything.
God,
He was talking about it earlier, and I was like, oh, yeah, I need to remember to ask Thomas about this. This is a competition you guys have coming up.
Oh, yes.
Now you're super relieved.
Yes.
You're like, oh, my God, what is he
What
going to
has he
say?
told him?
Mustard.
Yeah, the Mayhem for Mustard Seed. So this is really Rich's biggest thing. The first thing he's really done as far as like a community, hey, get out there and do something very big. Obviously, he goes and talks to schools and does those things, but he's put his name on this thing. So the Mustard Seed Ranch is a ranch for kids that have either been beaten, parents are drug addicts, parents have left, all those different kinds of things. And so these kids are super neglected.
Mm-hmm.
And there are two homes here in Cookeville. And so, but it's private. It's not state run. Everything they get is from private donations, churches, just people, anything like that. And so what we're going to do is we're having a competition April 12th. It's a three-person competition, same-sex team, so 3 guys or 3 girls. Now, we're not limiting the number of team men or women. So it's just 100. We're going to cap it at 100 teams. So April 12th. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to raise money to build a girls' home. They've got the land running out to Yang out there. They've got 80 acres, but they don't. I mean, it's hard to build a house for 15 or 20 girls. And so we're trying to raise $400,000 for the girls' home. And if we can, I think we could do it with the competition. But if we can't, we're just going to probably make this an annual event and see how it goes this first year. But it's going to be exciting. I mean, we're 100 teams. It's Rich's team is Rich, Matt Chan, and Ben Smith. So it's a pretty stout team.
Mm-hmm.
Does he know that makes people not want to sign up?
Here's the thing about this.
There's actually a lot of teams.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
I know.
I'm not going to
They
win.
realize they're not going to win.
The thing is, if you think about it, if this is the only thing that you can really just enter and go compete against Rich, and that's a pretty cool thing. I mean,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So you get to compete right alongside him, and that's. I mean, that's the thing, a lot of things that because everything else besides the open, everything else, you have to qualify for it and all those different types of things. And so we're going to do that. And if we're
so you can donate money and feel demoralized on the same
at the same time. Yeah, it's an awesome thing. So
if you can't make it to that, can you donate online?
Yes, you can donate online. Go to if
Where
you
do you
just
go?
Google Eventbrite and Mustard Seed for Mayhem or Mayhem for Mustard Seed, you can go there and you can donate anything you want. And it's a great. We've got our title sponsors. Title sponsors is going to be 2 of Rich's sponsors, Reebok and then Advocare, and then also Dave Rowland, who's a guy here in town, does billboards and things like that. He's one of the title sponsors. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be a great event. And the thing is, we don't have a scale division simply because it's not going to be a 3-day event. It's only a 1-day event. And
too many 3-day events.
Too many 3-day
Let's just do
events.
1 day, guys.
1 day, wham, bam,
It's
thank
hard.
you, man. Yeah, it is. It's 3 days, and so you come in on Saturday. We're going to compete all day Saturday, and then go home. No scale division, but we're gonna make this thing doable for people that are not just super superior athletes. This is not go compete and beat Rich at all these. No, this is going to be traditional CrossFit stuff. We're having it at a
no crazy surprises.
Absolutely
not gonna have
not.
to swim with sharks or anything like that.
No swim with sharks. No dodging dogs on the side of. I mean, nothing like that. No cow tipping, anything like that.
Dude, if I went to a competition at Cookeville and y'all had cow tipping, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be like, all right.
No, but it's going to be great. It's going to be really good. We're going to program it. It's going to be hard. I mean, it's competition, but it's not going to be something so crazy that people can't do. I mean, we're going to make it to where the masses can do the workout. So
yeah, if you've never competed before, you just do it. It's so much fun.
So much fun.
Team is the best way.
Oh, team is awesome. Team is awesome.
Way.
Yeah.
When is that again?
April the 12th here in Cookeville. Here's the good thing about it is, it's 2 weeks after the Open, and there are no regional dates. So what you could do if you find out that you did make regionals, you can bring your team. You can take your 3 guys and your 3 girls and come to the event. And
good practice.
Good practice.
Yeah.
And what it does is,
and if it's 1 day, the volume's not going to blow you out.
It's not going to blow you out. It's just another training day. It's like I talked to Tommy Hackenbrook, who they've won 2 years in a row, and I was like, And what's the secret? You know, first thing is there is no secret. But he said one of the things they do is they work together a lot on like competitions. He says, we can't train together every day. He said, but one of the things we'll go to do SEAL Fit for a weekend. We'll go do a competition together for a weekend. And this is one of those opportunities. And here's the thing, too. If you don't make regionals, bring your team. It's another opportunity to compete as a team together.
Yeah.
And if you're at a box and
you train all year to compete.
Yeah.
And if you don't get to go to regionals, at least you get to do this.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's at a great venue. It's at where they have rodeos at a horse equestrian center.
Oh yeah.
Big shocker, huh? And so, but no, it's gonna be great. We're looking forward to it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, if I wanted to sign up, where do I go?
Just Google Eventbrite Mustard Seed for Mayhem.
There's no link off of CrossFitMayhem.com.
You can go to CrossFitMayhem.com and the link is on the side too.
There you go.
There you go. That'll be easier.
Yeah. Eventbrite /
Yeah. Brian, you were talking about a competition in Hawaii that you're working on.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. I want to go to
that.
that.
I got fairly kind of immersed into the Hawaiian scene the moment these guys started to really like see CrossFit and understand it. And so I got a little connected out there, and a lot of these guys are connected with people within Hawaii, and over on Kauai, where a lot of the guys that I hang out are from, they have got their hands on about 1,000 acres of land, of Hawaiian land, which, you know, if you've been to Hawaii or you've ever seen pictures, it's not exactly flat. So there's jungle, there's just about everything. So we're going to put together a competition out there that we're looking to make into not just like a CrossFit event. It's we'll be looking at like 24-hour events, like team type stuff, like circumnavigating jungle area, things like that. Then having scaled events, things like runs or even just CrossFit style events, and then making it kind of like the idea here, and this is still just very fresh, but it is having it kind of like festival style. We've got connections within the resorts out in Kauai. It's on the south side, to where we can, get some fairly reasonable rates for people to come stay out there.
You're putting us up in like one of the big nice.
Yeah, don't worry,
places,
we got you guys
right.
covered. we'll get you taken care of. Michelle Kinney was actually just out there. Yeah, she was out there playing with my buddies out there, and they've got everything out there. So, and I mean everything, like from the boats to the ocean to the surfboards to the mountains to the hiking to the horses, the weather. Yeah, it's nonstop. Even though it is the wettest place on the planet, but
beautifully warm.
Yeah,
same temperature all
year round.
Yeah,
so,
same temperature. It's awesome. You pack same kind of clothes all year.
Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned is it doesn't get cold at night.
Nope.
So anything?
No, it does not. Well, they tend to think it gets a little cold, but it doesn't drop below like 65.
It's like when we were in Miami and it was 60 degrees. They're like, I am so sorry. I'm like, man, I'm in shorts and t-shirt, and loving it. I'm like,
so shirtless and flip flops.
Yeah, I was walking around barefoot, and they're wearing like parkas down there. I was like, man, my pool was frozen when I left Memphis. This is awesome.
So that's going to be kind of like a combination adventure race / CrossFit event.
I think it.
Yeah, you're talking about navigating the jungle.
Yeah. There's a lot of trail out there in mountains. We went out to. I wanted to go test the land the first time I was out there. I'm like, all right, what do you got? Let's go up there. There's actually zip lines that work across the mountains. But like we did I think it was a 2.5 mile. 3-mile hike, and it literally took us 3 hours, like 2.5 hours to do. Yeah, it goes vertical.
A lot of elevation. Yeah,
it just goes vertical, and then you're in jungle, and it's like, and there's spiders out there like that, and you're freaking out. But they're harmless garden spiders. But
they're as big as your hand, though.
They're like this big, and you're just going, what is? You're just. It's different, man. It's so, and you're just in like this beautiful place, and you see the entire island.
That's
like
amazing.
You just get up there, and you're just blown away at what you're looking at. Because Kauai is actually like probably one of the last like within the islands of kind of like less untouched. There are a couple more that are untouched. In fact, Niihau, which is you're not even allowed to go to unless you are of native Hawaiian descent. So at any rate, it's virtually untouched. There's very little that's populated on Kauai. Most of it is just pristine land everywhere. So it's it should put for a fairly entertaining weekend for people.
Yeah, figure out a way to incorporate surfing into the event somehow.
Absolutely. There will be some water involved for sure.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Because I will be there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, competition in Hawaii.
When roughly were you thinking about doing that?
Got to go for business.
Business expense.
That's right.
Definitely business.
Late August to probably October time. It just depends on when we can all agree on it. I'm going out actually within the next 2 weeks. I'm going out there to go over the land, go over potential competition stuff, and then, getting it all organized. So
I'm looking forward to that, man. I've never been to Hawaii.
No.
we'll go surfing, boys.
I've been once, but it was a little too touristy for me. I want to go.
This is not the
Yeah, I don't want to do the touristy thing.
no. This ain't Honolulu or Waikiki, bro.
Kauai, that's where Dustin is, right?
Yes. Yeah, Dustin lives a very remote place.
Does he?
Yeah. I mean, Kauai is the farthest place in the United States.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like a blast.
Furthest, most remote place. I want to go.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up.
it yeah.
All right, Thomas, we got Meal Fit. I'm gonna let you promote anything you want right now. You got mustard seed.
Mayhem for mustard seed.
Mayhem from mustard.
We
Mayhem
got
for
mustard seeds.
We got mustard seeds and meal fit.
We got mustard seeds and ketchup.
Now, mealfit.co is what we've been doing for a little less than a year now.
CO.
It's
Not .com.
Not .com. Some guy in California owns it, and if you own it,
California.
holler at me. I'd like to
Give
buy
it up.
Yeah. It's just trying to help people know what to eat and making it easy. It's for people that are busy.
Cannot recommend it enough.
Thank you.
I'm one of the trial.
He is the
I
trial.
am.
We've got two different plans. We got a plan that for the just everyday people, it's a little easier. Then we've got a zone.
Simplifies life like nobody's business.
Which one would you recommend I be on?
The original.
You saw me with my shirt off today. This
Like,
dude
you
needs
need
to
to
lose
lean
some
up.
weight.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
Like normally I ask people what their goals are, but I'm gonna tell you. This is what you need to do.
No, we've got an original plan, which is like for the like that's what we do. We do the original plan. Then
Right.
we've got like the hardcore CrossFit athlete, endurance athlete. We've got a zone paleo plan, it's zone measurements. It's paleo food. It's good. It's hard. I mean, zone's hard. I mean, you got to do the measuring. I try to make the measuring easier for you, but it's good. I mean, it's affordable. It's good. It's easy. I can help you. I help answer the questions. It's not just a plan. I mean, I'm there to help consultate you a little bit. So it's pretty good.
Yeah,
And if
a
I
lot-
don't know the
so-
answer, I ask people.
A lot of-
Meal
I don't make
plans,
stuff up. Yep.
meal plan, recipe, and
Grocery
then
list.
support,
Yep.
grocery list.
And support.
Right, so comprehensive nutrition,
Yep.
Grocery
whatever
list
you
is
need, basically.
key there.
Yeah.
A lot of times people get like recipes, but they don't have like, it tells them they need so much of a certain ingredient, but building out the grocery list
Yep.
is tough.
It's
nice.
it's laid out for you. I mean, this is to make life easier. That's what it's for. Because
That-
everybody's too busy.
That's one of those common things that people get asked is, hey, can you give me a meal plan? And I usually go,
No.
Well, what people want, and this is the thing that happens. What people want, they want, hey, tell me what to eat. I hear that weekly. Just tell me
Right.
what to eat, and I'll do it. Instead of saying, oh, you need to eat less grains, you need less sugar. No. Tell me what to eat, and that's what we do. So it's good stuff.
very cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, percentage of macronutrient doesn't help you if you have no idea what to
No
do.
clue.
If you're already an expert, that makes a lot of sense. But if
There's
you're
a-
a beginner, you don't know shit. That's
Exactly.
not food.
People don't
Carbohydrate isn't a food. An apple is food.
An apple is food. There's no doubt.
Never bitten a carbohydrate.
The worst
before.
thing thing we've ever done as a society. The worst thing is we've explained an obese person as a macronutrient. We've called an obese person fat. That's what we do. And
Yeah.
it's the worst thing ever because what we're doing is we're saying, hey, they're fat. Well, what we need to be eating more fat in our diet. Well, it's like trying to sell, a makeup to a girl and label it a makeup ugly. It's not gonna happen.
You need more ugly on your face.
Yeah, it's like saying,
Then you won't look so ugly. No, it doesn't make any sense.
You and your analogies, man.
what you're
I mean,
doing.
you just
You know,
he's
That's
got it.
genius.
hey, buy this makeup. It's called ugly. Oh yeah, sure. I'll take 2. No,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You're sitting there saying, hey, you need to eat more fat. Well, if I eat more fat, I'm going to be fat.
So we should just start calling
point.
fat lean.
Lean.
Wow.
Here, have some lean.
That's some lean. Here it is.
That's
It's for
good.
you right here.
That's good.
So that's the biggest mistake we've made. That's the biggest mistake we've made is using the word fat. It's a macronutrient. It's like, hey, you're protein.
Hell yeah.
What is
I'm
that?
protein.
Yeah, I'm protein. Yeah, I am.
See these proteins right here? Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, make them bounce. So no, it's a mind shift. You know, trying to make people think in a different way, and it's hard because we've been told that you need 11 servings of grains a day. Holy moly, 11 a day. You know,
Is that real?
Well,
That'll kill you.
Food pyramid. That's
well,
what
we're
we're
told
talking
that for how many years? We started in the 40s or 50s.
I think when McGovern,
what I learned in school.
Yeah, I think when McGovern report came out, that was when the new food pyramid started,
Yeah.
which was in the 80s. But we've
Long time.
yeah.
Long time. So it's just to kind of get people to think in a different way. And it's not a diet. Mealfit.co is not a diet. It is a way to live. I mean, this is stuff you can eat the rest of your life. You're not going to do it for
Amen.
6 weeks. Amen. Bless God.
Hands up.
You're not going to do
I
it
love
for
that
6
boy.
weeks. Yeah. It's just a way to live.
Got B-Mac on a diet.
Yeah.
All right, Brian. What about yourself? You got anything to promote real quick?
Nah, I'm good, boys.
Good.
We talked about it.
Man, if
It's
you
good.
want to, if you want to see B-Mac stuff, go to the last episode.
Yeah. Let's go to the last episode.
It's there at the end.
Yeah.
You know what episode number
right
that's going to be?
Let's go,
did I
Savant.
stump
Let's
the
go,
squad?
Savant.
82 was your original, right?
He's like, we haven't produced it yet. It doesn't have a number.
That one could get lost.
Whatever this number is, -1.
You can find me at CrossFit Endurance or 3 Fuel with a 3 instead of an E, or athletecell.com, aller.com.
Excellent.
Not .co.
Hey, why not 3 Fuel with an E? Is it not out there?
Like an oil company owns it. We're trying to get it.
Gotcha.
We may not get that from the oil company.
No.
That might be kind of tough.
Price is pretty high, probably.
If I just talking
We're
to
working
somebody,
on
that
it.
would
We're
be
working
tough.
on it.
Oh,
But
good.
the 3 is going to become synonymous with
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
we do, though. So, I mean, everything, because we have a whole list of product lines that are about to drop, which the 3 will be attached to all of that stuff.
Sweet.
So it's 3FU3L.com.
You got it, Doug.
Whoa.
For all the people that didn't figure it out, I just figured it out for you.
I had no idea. I was lost, but I'm easy to confuse.
It's good stuff.
All right, guys, make sure to go to barbellshrugged.com, sign up for the newsletter, and we'll inform you of all the cool stuff that's going on, new podcast, things you think you would not need to know.
Ooh.
That's what you'll get sent.
Whoa.
You don't even know what you don't know.
Okay, so what
That's
you're
we're
going to need to
send
do
you.
is you're going to need to rewind that and listen to that again and write it down to understand what he just said.
All right, guys, thanks for having us out and podcasting with us.
Thanks for
Thanks
coming out,
having us,
boys.
man. It's awesome.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
See you,
See
fellas.
ya.